Jeremy Clarkson has spent the majority of his life as a petrolhead who shouted hyperbole while driving cars around corners too fast. He's known for his controversial views on environmentalists and his love for horsepower, so some were surprised when he turned to agriculture. However, in the last 7 years since Clarkson took over the day-to-day runnings of his farm, he's built an empire of businesses that work in an organic ecosystem of financial abundance. Most notably, his beer brand Hawkstone, which takes the barley grown on the field and turns it into a drinkable product that his millions of fans watch grew. So how on earth has Clarkson turned a farm into a money printing machine and accidentally created one of the fastest growing companies in the UK? But first, if you didn't know, we produce far from diddly squat here on this channel. I make weekly documentary videos every single week, and it would be awesome if you could drop a like and a sub to the channel so we can keep on pumping out these videos. And if you can't get enough of me, make sure to follow me over on Spotify so you can watch and listen to all of my videos on the go. Anyway, let's get back into the video. When Clarkson took over the day-to-day runnings of Diddly Squat Farm in 2019, after his contracted farmer Howard Pauling retired, he inherited roughly 1,000 acres of Cotswolds farmland that had been quietly growing barley, rapeseed and wheat for years. The soil on his land near Chipping Norton is what farmers call brash, which basically means that it's hard and not very forgiving. In season 1 of the show, Clarkson learned that his barley must have a specific nitrogen level. If it was too high, it'd be relegated to feed barley for animals, which pays significantly less. However, it turns out that this difficult rocky Cotswold soil produced unusually high malting barley, leading Jeremy to realise that he should turn his crop into beer to maximise his profit. However, there was a bit of a problem. You see, big maltsters, the people who processed the barley, weren't really interested. The major buyers in the grain industry essentially told him that his crop wasn't what they were looking for in terms of volume and supply chain. So the bloke who hates manual labour was now sitting on a field of premium brewing barley that nobody wanted to buy. For any other farmer, this would have been an agricultural disaster. For Clarkson, however, this would give him the perfect excuse to brew his own batch of lager. The solution to this came at the end of season 2, when he went directly to someone who knew what they were doing. He went to Rick and Emma King, who had been running the Cotswold Brewing Company since 2002. They were actually one of the first local craft breweries in the region, so when Clarkson approached them about using his barley to make lager, they already had over 2 decades of brewing knowledge between them. What they didn't have was a 62-year-old TV presenter with millions of viewers and an Amazon Prime show that was, at that point, quietly becoming the most watched original series on the platform. Jeremy ultimately bought shares and partnered with the Cotswold Brewing Company in 2021 to develop Hawkstone, making sure they only used barley sourced from British farms, including his own. The name Hawkstone came from a Neolithic standing stone located near the farm, representing being grounded, local, and kind of not trying too hard. Some people have argued that the stone was once part of a larger burial chamber, although there is apparently little evidence to support this. A local legend also claims that the cleft at the top of the stone was made by the chains of witches who were tied to the stone and burnt alive.
This is the Hawkstone. It was erected 4,000 years ago by our Neolithic ancestors. It was already 2,000 years old when the baby Jesus was born. It's watched Roman armies march past, and the Normans, and the plague, and the Luftwaffe, druids, new romantics and punks, and now it's watching me standing in front of it, drinking some lager that I've named in its honour.
Once the actual cost of brewing became clear, a decision was made that it had to be a premium beer. You can't really make your margins work on cheap lager when you're starting from scratch with a small operation. So the beer would be a nice 4.8%, brewed properly and not cut to compete on price with bottom shelf beers. Between season 2 and season 3, Hawkstone officially launched. Incredibly, within 8 hours of the launch, it became the UK's #1 selling beer on Amazon, outselling Bud, Corona and Stella. The team reportedly had to consider putting a limit on how many bottles each customer could buy, because there were genuine fears that the stock could run out before Christmas of that year. So in the first year of operating, it gave the confidence that this could really work as a brand and that this was genuinely a really good beer and not just a gimmick. A lot of that is thanks to Rick being a talented brewer who had been honing his craft since the early 2000s. In fact, the beer is so good that in 2025 at the World Beer Awards, Hawkstone won multiple awards with their IPA, winning the Gold Award for Best Beer in the country in its category. It was apparently praised for its subtle fruit and malted grain flavors, smooth mouthfeel, lively carbonation, and light, gentle bitter finish with herbal notes. Despite Clarkson bankrolling the whole operation, you can't buy those kind of awards with celebrity exposure. What Clarkson brought was something that the Keens could never have manufactured on their own, an audience that already trusted him. They already followed his farm through their television screens, and already had an emotional investment in seeing Diddley Squat succeed. The show was doing something that traditional advertising never could. Viewers watched Clarkson struggle with the farm, from bureaucratic battles with the local council, the crops that failed test, and the exhaustion of running an agricultural operation with no background in it whatsoever. Whenever the show references Hawkstone, it's not an ad break, it's literally woven into the story of a man trying to make his farm work. In the summer of 2023, a batch of Hawkstone cider began over-fermenting after it had already been bottled. The fermentation process hadn't stopped. Essentially, pressure was building inside the glass bottles, leaving some to explode, which led Clarkson to run to Twitter and put out the following statement. There's been a massive cock-up, and as a result, there's a very slim chance some of our Hawkstone cider bottles might, there's no easy way of saying this, explode. If the cap has the code L3160, open it underwater, pour it away, and get in touch for a refund. Really sorry about this, but on the upside, the beer is fine and still delicious. As is the cider in the bottles that are unaffected, which is almost all of them. People can arguably look past bad taste, but if a bottle of cider is actively trying to kill you, it's really not ideal. However, after the incident, sales actually went up. Clarkson later attributed this to their refreshing honesty and owning up to the mistake publicly. It was the opposite of a corporate crisis communications, and it resonated more because of that. The incident featured prominently in the third series of Clarkson's Farm, which aired in May 2024, sparking another significant boost in search traffic for the brand. By 2024, Hawkstone came in 24th in the Sunday Times list of the fastest growing businesses in the UK, with an annual sales growth of 142.88% over 3 years and a staggering £7.8 million in sales in the year to March 2024. Those numbers became even more dramatic in the following financial year. Hawkstone sales rose from £7.8 million to £21.3 million, and the company's total equity jumped from 430 grand to just over 3 million. So at this point, it's not really a celebrity vanity project ticking along, it's a business going through a serious growth stage. In fact, they even had the endorsement from the world's richest man, Elon Musk.
Very sensitive to the taste of bitter. So, and bitter tastes beer. Beer tastes bitter.
Unlikely to like this beer. Let's see what happens.
As beer goes, I'm afraid.
Now, there's quite a few layers of irony in this review of Hawkstone, as Clarkson and Elon have spent years trading insults. Clarkson had called him an idiot, gave scathing reviews of Teslas on Top Gear, and Elon even tried to sue him as a result. If you want to find out the full details, I've made an entire video about it, and I definitely recommend you should check it out because it's actually quite interesting. Despite this, after seeing Elon try his beer, Clarkson posted on Twitter, Mr. Musk said on social media this week that he doesn't much care for beer, but as beers go, Hawkstone is pretty good. So I'd like to return the favour and say that I agree with him. Hawkstone is pretty good. Working for Elon's arch enemy at Amazon, Clarkson announced in November 2024 that the show would be renewing for a 5th season in a rather futuristic way. During an interview, Andy Willman, who produced Top Gear and is also at the helm of Clarkson's Farm, explained how Amazon never originally wanted to make the show.
The reason the farm came about is when Amazon wanted us to re-sign after the original 3 years were up. We weren't sure we should carry on. We were like, okay, now's the time to stop. We've done another 36 shows. We're going to go shit at some point. So let's get ahead of it and not be shit and just stop. And Amazon won't want us anyway. And it turns out they did want us because we were doing well for them. And then we were like, no, we're not going to do it. And then the bastards went, okay, which is the way to get for insecure people, is to go, all right, here's some more money to make more Top Gear, Grand Tours, but you each get a solo show. Now imagine you're a 70s band, whereas full of egos, like Deep Purple or something like that, and the keyboard player suddenly got his solo album deal. You know, the record company's only interested in the lead singer and the lead guitarist, but suddenly the bass player, the keyboard player, everybody's got their own solo thing. We all got our own solo project deal with Amazon. And they said to Jeremy, what would you like to do? He goes, I'm thinking about life on my farm. And if I had a quid for every Amazon executive went, can you talk him out of that, please? Because they thought, that how can that be interesting in any way? So I rang him, I went, are you feeling the knives in your back today? And he's like, what? And I was like, I'm just killing myself here. The people trying to talk me out, get you to talk you out doing this. And he was like, I don't blame him. I don't blame him. He didn't get cross at all. He was like, I'm crapping myself that this is going to be any good. So he's like, and we were like, what we're worried about? And I was like, I know you'll do your best, but what if it's boring? And that's what I'm worried about. It's going to be boring. So it's starting like Top Gear in that you've got no expectations of it. That's a similarity. Whereas with the Grand Tour, there are expectations. And then happy accidents occur, which is like Top Gear. The biggest happy accident is the cast, because nobody knew that Gerald would be Gerald, that Charlie would be Charlie, and Caleb would be Caleb, and Lisa would be Lisa, or even Alan the Builder would be the perfect builder. Nobody knew that would happen.
As season 4 rolled round, the empire kept expanding. Hawkstone moved beyond lager and cider into stouts, gin and vodka, all of which were still made from British ingredients. Not only that, the brand expanded into supermarkets like Waitrose and Sainsbury's and established itself in over 1,500 pubs across the UK, including his own, the Farmer's Dog in Astle. The refurbishment of the pub and the construction of the surrounding premises became a major plot point in season 4, turning a dilapidated dogging site into one of the most strongest and most diverse limbs of the Diddley Squat empire. The pub itself became another Clarkson project riddled with the financial anxieties that have defined his farming venture from the start. In an interview with The Times, he explained how owning a pub comes with the reality of massive overheads. It's galling to see how much effort is required to make so little money on the farm. It's worse at the pub. The customers are coming, there's no problem there, but turning their visits into a profit is nigh on impossible. He described running the Farmer's Dog as a brilliant way of turning £100 into £94, and said the only thing saving him from financial ruin was selling his own Hawkstone beer and cider on the premises. Because of this, he announced, if you've got a pub and if you want to see if this strategy works for you as well, get in touch with us at our website, and if we like the sound of your pub, if it's the kind of place we want to be in, we'll send you a free keg, 88 pints of Hawkstone lager or a cider for nothing. In terms of the next strategy of growing the empire and helping communities, Clarkson suggested that buying pubs might be the next step. We are looking. There's no shortage of options, I can tell you that. There is a worryingly large amount of pubs for sale, and even the ones that aren't, owners will literally bite your arm off when you walk in and ask if they might be. The managing director of Hawkstone, Owen Jenkins, the guy kind of running the operations, came from some serious credentials. He previously worked with C&C Group, the company behind Magners and Tennent's. He basically assessed that there was no true premium British lager dominating the market, and that's kind of where Hawkstone is picturing its future. British drinkers have spent decades drinking lagers brewed under license from European brands, many of which are produced in British factories with nothing particularly British about them beyond the geography of their production. However, Hawkstone can credibly claim to be British. It's this Britishness that they very much tap into throughout their marketing. In July 2025, Hawkstone made the first advert to be broadcast on TV, so it could fit nicely in between Clarkson's episodes of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
It's difficult to put into the spoken word how hard it is to make Hawkstone lager. So instead, I've put it into a song for some farmers to sing. Hawkstone is fucking good.
Unfortunately, due to the swearing in the advert, it apparently got banned by television regulators. It's a cock-up as usual. I've made my biggest, most heartfelt, and frankly, most expensive advert ever, and it's been banned. The fun police in their beige offices have decided that the public can't be trusted to watch it. It's been kicked off the telly, silenced on the radio, and barred from the cinema. Hilariously, Jeremy responded to the banned ad via another advert, addressing the situation.
Bad news. I made a TV commercial to advertise my new Hawkstone lager, which is made with barley from Diddley Squat Farm. We're going to show it in the middle of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, but I've had an email from the lawyers saying that The scene where I take a swig and say, "Fuck me, that's good," contravenes a number of regulations. So it's back to the drawing board. It's fucking good though.
This incredible strategy of coming up with controversy and banned ads continued with another ad from the Hawkstone Farmers Choir.
The farmer's dog, the lager cathedral. This is where we gather in awe to celebrate the golden creation that is Hawkstone. Take it away, farmers.
Hawkstone lager, Hawkstone lager. It's the dog's nuts, it's the dog's nuts, it's the dog's nuts. Hawkstone lager, Hawkstone lager. It's the dog's nuts.
Why are you singing? You're not a farmer.
I did a jingle.
I skipped several ads to watch this ad, and it's glorious. Why are you singing? You're not a farmer. Don't remember the last time I chuckled at an ad. Because the ads don't feel like ads, it's exactly why Clarkson's genius generates its own magnetic field. In December 2025, it was announced that Hawkstone would be available to buy in Five Guys. The launch of the collab very much emphasised both companies' shared commitment to sourcing British ingredients.
When you buy a tasty burger from Five Guys, you are supporting British farming because the potatoes that make the chips are British. So is the wheat that makes the flour that makes the bun, and so is the beef that makes the burger. I mean, some of it's surviving, to be some of the beef is these descents, that's okay. Now, if you want to support American farming, you can wash this delicious burger down with whatever this is. But if you want to keep the British thing going, good news, because Five Guys is now stocking Hawkstone.
It's these examples of guerrilla marketing that really separate Clarkson's product from anybody else. Not only does it have a huge USP being completely British, they're funny because of his bumbling delivery. The following year, in March 2026, the Hawkstone Farmers Choir, who appeared in Clarkson's commercials, appeared on Britain's Got Talent, where they went on to win a golden buzzer during their audition. After this appearance on Britain's Got Talent, Clarkson shared a video of him reacting to how proud he was.
Hello everybody, I watched Britain's Got Talent tonight for the first time because the Hawkstone Choir were on, and they were just fantastic. These guys are all farmers. They work incredibly hard for really incredibly small rewards, and to see them all on that stage with all that love in the room made my heart sing. I actually welled up, and thank you Amanda Holden for pressing that golden buzzer thing. I don't know what that means, but it obviously is important. Yeah, it shows that I think people quite like farmers, and they were very, very good. No, well done, all of you. I mean, I'm a very happy man tonight.
On the 30th of May 2026, it was announced that Clarkson's farm would be dropping on Amazon Prime in June. However, according to Jeremy, it looks as though this could be the last. During an interview, he said, "I'd do a 6th season if there was a reason for doing it. Like a bloody good story. Whatever happens, we'll definitely take a short break as the crews are worn out. We've been filming here for 2 or 3 days a week, every week for 5 years. Everybody could do with a rest. I did think it'd serve up a gentle disappointment to the Top Gear Grand Tour audience. I very much was typecast as the man who drove around corners too quickly while shouting hyperbole to make a point. I thought, why would anybody who watches Top Gear or the Grand Tour want to watch this bucolic show about farming? Then they did, and it brought a whole new audience who'd never watched a single program I'd made. It's massively popular in China. A huge number of Chinese people come to the farm shop and the pub. I said to one of them the other day, "Why do you like it?" He said, "We watch it because we cannot believe how incompetent you are." Hawkstone is now being served at over 2,000 pubs across the UK and has become one of the fastest growing companies in Britain. However, Jeremy's ambitions for Hawkstone aren't just in old Blighty. I love Cotswold beer. I lived here a long time, but instead of it being available in 20 pubs in this area, it's going to be available in 200,000 pubs, stretching all the way from the Pacific Northwest to Brisbane. That's my plan. However, growth at this pace to match much the ambition costs money. The amount Clarkson's company owes to creditors has also grown significantly, rising from 1.6 million to 2.6 million over the same period that sales nearly tripled. The infrastructure required to supply 2,000 pubs nationally, secure supermarket listings with Waitrose and Sainsbury's, and manage international ambitions doesn't come cheap. But Clarkson operates on the principle that the story is the marketing, and the marketing sells the beer. And so far, that logic has held up. I mean, Hawkstone sold 2.5 million pints in 2025 alone. For a brand that didn't exist 4 years ago, that's not exactly a vanity project. And it seems Clarkson's model has been quietly inspiring his old colleagues. Now that the Top Gear trio's television careers are winding down, and the boys are making their transition to online media, both Richard Hammond and James May have followed in Jeremy's footsteps by launching their own spirit brands. Hammond with his own gin, and May doing the same. But James even went a step further and bought a pub near his house, which at this point feels a lot less like a coincidence and more like a support group for middle-aged petrolheads who discovered they actually quite like running hospitality businesses. Jeremy has spent decades building an audience that trusts him, not because he's always right or even politically correct, but because he's always honest about being wrong. And when you have that kind of relationship with millions of people, you don't need a marketing department, you just need a decent pint and a Twitter account. Well, on that bombshell, if you've made it this far, I really do appreciate you watching. If you're new here, make sure to drop a like and a sub to the channel, follow me on Instagram at phatmema, and comment below what you want to see next. As always, I'll see you in the next one.